Welcome to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries, where forgotten stories whisper in the dark and old secrets drift like dust through quiet halls. Tonight we wander through abandoned places, buildings left behind by time, walls that hold memories no voice speaks aloud. Some stand deep in silent forests, some crumble on empty streets, some hide in plain sight, hidden only by our unwillingness to look too closely. In these places, shadows grow long and the air feels heavy with things unsaid. People say that where life once thrived, echoes remain, sometimes in the creak of old floors, sometimes in the chill that runs down your neck when no wind blows. So settle in, breathe slowly, and let me guide you through stories of forgotten buildings and the ghosts they may still shelter. Imagine standing at the gates of an old hospital, ivy curling through rusted iron bars. The paint peels from brick walls, windows gape like empty eyes. Places meant for healing often gather sorrow like moss gathers in dark corners. Patients who came for help sometimes never left, and some believe that a part of them never truly did. One such place is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. Built for tuberculosis patients in the early 1900s, it saw thousands pass through its halls, hoping for a cure that rarely came. Visitors today say they hear whispers in the dark, footsteps pacing empty rooms, and sometimes a figure peering through broken glass. In old children's wards, toys lie scattered, waiting for small hands that never return. Abandoned hospitals hold a strange mix of sadness and fear, the promise of care turned ghostly with time. Pripyat, the ghost city near Chernobyl, is another place frozen by disaster. Once a thriving town for workers at the nuclear plant, it was emptied overnight after the explosion. Apartments still hold toys on shelves, classrooms stand with lessons half erased on dusty chalkboards. Nature has begun to reclaim the streets, trees pushing through concrete, animals wandering where people once laughed and worked. Some who sneak into the exclusion zone speak of an uneasy quiet, as if the city itself breathes. In hallways where no one walks, the wind rattles broken doors and carries the memory of voices long gone. Schools are some of the saddest abandoned places. Halls once alive with laughter now echo only with wind. Desks sit in rows, chalkboards half-written, notebooks left behind as if students might return any moment. Stories swirl around these forgotten schools, a teacher who stayed too late, a child who never went home, footsteps in empty classrooms when the sun dips low, factories to stand hollowed out, machines rusted and silent. These places once hummed with noise and sweat and promise. When they close, they leave behind more than metal and concrete. People say they carry the energy of thousands of lives spent inside, hopes for paychecks, worries about layoffs, friendships formed over shared labor. Sometimes explorers say they hear the clank of phantom machinery, the low rumble of engines that will never start again. Mansions tell a different story. Some are abandoned because their owners fell into ruin, unable to keep the lights burning and the roofs mended. Inside, chandeliers gather dust, curtains rot on windows that look out on tangled gardens. Family portraits stare down silent halls. Visitors speak of soft piano notes drifting through empty rooms, as if someone still plays for a party that ended long ago. Ghost towns scatter across the world like forgotten dreams. They rise where gold was found and vanish when veins run dry. In the American West, whole towns stand empty, saloons with swinging doors, wooden sidewalks leading nowhere, wind blowing grit through broken windows. Some say at night you can hear horses' hooves and voices calling poker hands, a party that never leaves because it can never truly end. In Europe, old castles crumble on lonely hills. Once strongholds of power and pride, now only owls keep watch in their towers. Stone walls remember sieges and feasts, betrayal and coronation. Legends say some castles shelter ghosts who walk ramparts at dawn or appear in moonlit halls. Servants carrying trays to no one, knights in rusted armor who guard gates that open for no one. Churches, too, stand empty in forgotten villages. Pews gather dust, stained glass cracked by storms. Yet sometimes candles appear lit though no one tends them. Locals tell of priests who still walk the aisles, saying prayers that drift out broken doors to fields now silent. On some remote islands, entire settlements stand abandoned. Houses rot under moss and sea spray. Boats sit half-sunk at old docks. A place like Hashima Island in Japan, once a coal mining hub, now sits like a concrete shell surrounded by restless waves. Some call it Battleship Island because from afar it looks like a warship adrift. Inside, stairways crumble, rooms stand open to the sky, wind whistling through empty halls. Stories say that miners who died in explosions or accidents never left, footsteps echoing on cracked cement where no living soul treads. Underground old mines twist through stone like veins. Some are sealed tight for safety, others tempt explorers. Darkness there feels heavier, pressing close. Some claim they hear pickaxes striking. Rock far below. Voices whisper just out of reach. Sometimes they find old helmets, lamps that will never light again. Cinemas and theaters abandoned feel strangely alive. Rows of red velvet seats face blank screens. The hush of an empty theater makes people swear they hear applause, the rustle of silk dresses, a final bow no one claps for. Backstage, old props and costumes gather dust, echoes of stories told 1,000 times. Hotels are haunted in a way few other places are, built for strangers to come and go. They gather stories like moths gather. Too light. Some stand empty now, keys still hanging behind dusty desks. Lobbies echo with imagined footsteps. Beds stay made for guests who never arrive. Corridors stretch dark and quiet, yet visitors say they hear doors slam. Voices murmur in rooms no one has entered for decades. In the woods, small cabins decay slowly. Logs soften under rain, roofs cave in under snow. Yet sometimes lights flicker in the windows when there should be none. Hikers speak of music drifting between them. Trees, laughter where no path leads. Maybe the forest keeps its secrets, welcoming old ghosts back when the world forgets them. Amusement parks left to rot carry an eerie sadness. Once bright with laughter, now rusting rides creak in the wind. Clowns smile through peeling paint. Ferris wheels stand frozen against gray skies. Visitors say they hear the echo of children's giggles on the breeze. Carousel music drifting through tangled weeds. Ships to become abandoned places. Ghost ships drift empty at sea, but old liners docked forever gather rust and myths. Some serve as museums now, where footsteps ring on hollow decks. People swear they hear voices in empty cabins, see figures pass through corridors that lead nowhere. Sometimes entire villages vanish. In parts of Italy, villages stand empty after earthquakes. In Africa, desert sands swallow towns built for diamond rushes. Wind carries grit through doorways, burying floors inch by inch. Walls crumble, doors hang open, yet locals whisper that at night lights flicker where no wires run. Train stations forgotten by time stand with tracks overgrown. Benches hold dust where once they held waiting. Passengers. Sometimes the echo of a train horn drifts through cold air though no engine passes. These places remind us that silence can be louder than any sound. Deep forests sometimes hide entire settlements. Log homes stand among trees grown thick around them. Paths fade back into wild earth. Yet fires have been seen flickering behind broken shutters. A curl of smoke where no chimney stands firm. No one answers when you knock. Factories where weapons were built during wars stand abandoned now. Hangars echo with rusted chains. In these places, people claim to see figures in old uniforms, guards who never left their posts. Machines gather dust, yet sometimes a clang rings out like a hammer striking steel dot in hidden corners of cities. Entire buildings stand empty behind locked gates. People pass them every day, never guessing that stories swirl inside. An old hotel floor sealed off, an empty office block where a caretaker still makes rounds in the hush of night. Some abandoned places are new, born when people simply move on. Houses left behind when fortunes shift, doors left unlocked, dishes still on the table. Neighbors say they see lights flick on at dusk, hear a door creak open, but when they look closer, nothing stirs. Stories of these places warn us of our own impermanence. What we build may outlast us, standing quiet long after we are gone. They become vessels for our fears, our wonder, our restless imagining. Maybe we need them, these empty rooms, to remind us that silence can hold as much story as any book. When people wander these places, they bring their own ghosts with them. Memories meet old echoes, and the line between what was and what might be blurs. Some go looking for spirits and find only their own reflection staring back. Yet even then, something lingers, a creak underfoot, a cold draft where no window stands open, the feeling that someone watches, unseen. Maybe ghosts do linger, maybe some walls remember. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, imagine walking through these forgotten halls. Feel the hush gather around you like a soft blanket. Let the echoes become a lullaby, carrying you through dreams. These places ask nothing, demand nothing, except that you remember they once held life. If you've enjoyed wandering abandoned places with me tonight, stay close to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries. Subscribe for more stories that carry you softly into the hidden corners of the world and the mind. Like this story if it soothed you, and share it with another dreamer who loves the hush of forgotten things. Sleep well, dream deep, and let your mind wander where only shadows keep company. Good night.